It is 9:14 p.m. Eastern Coast time. I gave it about 5 hours until after the game was over. Didn't want to record right afterward. Didn't want to let those emotions out, but I still feel, as I sit down here and kind of look at the recap and look at the box score, like that was the most infuriating loss. I mean, literally a stomach-turning loss in the regular season to the Baltimore Ravens. Bengals go down 41-38 in overtime in just one of the all-time letdowns that you can imagine. I mean, I don't know. I genuinely don't think that since Zach Taylor has taken over, and especially since Joe Burrow's got here, there has been a more frustrating loss. You're in the jungle, by the way. I'm Matt Edwards. Thank you for tuning in. This show is going to be a little bit different than the normal one if you're a regular listener. I wrote down like 5 bullet points. I'm going to talk about each one of them for as long as I feel like, and that's going to be the show. We're not doing game balls. I don't care what happened outside of the division. I just want to focus on the disaster that I just watched unfold late Sunday afternoon at Paycor Stadium. It's just as upset as I've been. It's as gut-wrenching of a loss as I can remember. And I don't even know, like, there's part of me that's like, do I even talk about this? Does anyone want to relive any of this? But I think it's kind of maybe therapeutic a little bit just to say it all out loud and get it all out there. So I'm thinking to myself, and everybody on the planet is irritated. And look, we could go back and watch this game and pick apart a million things that the Bengals could have done better, right? But at the end of the day, when you're playing an excellent team, and Baltimore is an excellent team, they just hosted the AFC Championship, and holy smokes, Lamar Jackson is a wizard out there on the football field, and it looks like they're going to be right in the thick of things again when it comes to who wins the AFC. When you're playing another great team, and you're playing at a great level, say what you want about the Bengals, they played great today for 4 quarters. Well, 4 3/4 quarters. When you're in that position at the end, the Burrow interception, Jamar took blame for that after the game. Jamar said he ran a colorful language, SIHSHITTY route. I don't want to get flagged on Apple and have to go through that. Jamar took the blame for that. That's fine. Whatever. When you're throwing it that many times and you throw 5 touchdowns, we got to give you one. It sucks it happened in that spot, but you still got a shot to win. Again, there's a million things we can go over that could have been different. But when your defense finally, I told my dad, I watched the game with my dad on Sunday. We had a great time for most of it. I said, this coin toss is so important. Going into overtime, tied at 38. Kyle Van Noy calls it. Jake Browning's out there for the Bengals. Ravens get the ball. We're in trouble. Bengals are in trouble right now. They have not stopped this Baltimore offense in quite some time. And then finally, if you listened last week, I said the Bengals got to get a turnover. They had not got a turnover all day. They finally get a gift-wrapped turnover. Lamar fumbles the ball in overtime. Bengals have it in Baltimore territory. You've got a quarterback that you took number 1 overall and gave $275 million to, and we all agree he's one of the top 2, 3, or 4 guys in the league. The next year, you spent the number 5 overall pick on a wide receiver who is undoubtedly a top 3 guy himself. Oh, by the way, and then that Joe Burrow draft, you took a wide receiver, 33rd overall, and at the end of the season, if he's relatively healthy, he's going to make a lot of money somewhere. You got all these weapons. You got the best quarterback wide receiver trio in the National Football League. You don't even give any of them a chance? You put more faith in your kicker, and Evan McPherson's a great kicker, but you put more faith in your kicker than your quarterback? That's not a championship caliber team thing to do. That's not playing to win. That's playing not to lose. You don't trust Joe Burrow all of a sudden because of one bad route by Jamar? Now, they run the ball 3 straight times in overtime. Burrow says it was a pass on the first down. He checked out of it. Okay, whatever. Still, you're just going to not even give those guys a shot. Jamar had almost 200 yards. They couldn't do anything to him. T. Higgins was playing at an incredibly high level. He had so many circus catches on Sunday. You're not going to give those guys a shot? I understand you want to kick a field goal, but can you get it within 40 yards? Why not try? Why have these elite weapons? Why spend the draft picks on those weapons if you're just going to run the ball with the game on the line. It was just a scared move. It was a scared move. It was pathetic. And, a lot of people calling for, I don't want to say a lot of people. There's a lot of people on Twitter and online saying, fire this person, fire that person. I'm not the type to call for anyone's job, but I am the type to say, hey, tiger up a bit. Sack up a bit. Play to win the freaking game. You say after the game, Zach Taylor says after the game, we still have championship expectations. Didn't look like it to me. Didn't look like you believed your team was a championship contender when you handed the ball off 3 straight times. Practice what you preach, man. Just a real head scratcher there. Just a real head scratcher. And, we sit around as fans. I'm texting with a few people. I'm looking at Twitter. We're frustrated. You think Jamar Chase and T. Higgins aren't frustrated? You think Mike Gesicki wouldn't have liked to have had a shot to really put a stamp on a game? I mean, those guys have been the best player on the field most of their lives. Until they got to the NFL, they pretty much always were. Jamar still might be. Burrow still might be. Not been many times those guys have got on the field where they haven't been the dude you go to when you need someone to make a play. They don't even get a look. You might as well have just let Joe throw the ball away. Not even a look. That's not playing to win. That's not playing. That's not a championship DNA thing to do. I know that sounds very cliche and coach speaky like, but when Zach Taylor comes out after the game and says, we still believe that we're a championship team, well, you didn't call plays like you were a championship team. You called plays like you were afraid to give Lamar Jackson the ball back, and you should have been. But you know what? You step up and you go haymaker for haymaker because you put up 38 points. It's not like this was tied at 10. You've been kicking Baltimore's ass all day, especially in the second half. And all of a sudden you get scared? I don't think the Bengals punted in the second half. And all of a sudden with the game on the line, you change what's got you here in the first place? It just makes no sense. It just makes no sense. And I sit here, and it's easy for, people who have played the game and play the game like to say, well, you've never been in that position. No, I haven't. I don't have one of the 32 prestigious jobs on the planet of being an NFL head coach. And really, neither has anyone else, or most of the people anyway, who are going to talk about this. There's going to be a handful. Rex Ryan, he can talk about it, sure. But don't compare the people behind microphones. Don't compare losers like me to people who are one of the 32 head coaches of NFL teams in the world. If you are at that level, it should be impeccable. There shouldn't be this many mistakes. You should be able to close games out. And then we all know what happens. Bad snap, bad hold, field goal is not close. And why? Because you put more faith in your kicker than your quarterback. Does that sound like something a championship team does? I love Evan McPherson. You love Evan McPherson. We all love Evan McPherson. Zach Taylor really loves Evan McPherson. Apparently loves him more than Joe Burrow. Few things make less sense than that. Few things that I have experienced as a fan and follower and one-time reporter on this team make less sense than what we witnessed there on Sunday. Just baffling. Just baffling. You want to win games, you give the ball to your playmaker. Do you think Andy Reid's doing that in Kansas City? Do you think the Chiefs are in that position? He's not letting Pat Mahomes at least run out and have the option to throw. You think Josh Allen's going to hand the ball off 3 straight times? Decide who you want to be. Are you content just hanging around, or do you actually believe that you're a championship caliber team? And at 1-4, you shouldn't even have the word championship in your freaking vocabulary. Just one of the all-time baffling sequence of play calls I've ever seen. And the players got to be hot. Why wouldn't they be? They didn't play to win. They played not to lose. That's as simple as you can put it, right? They did not play to win the game. They played to not lose the game. And where does that get you? You weren't playing the Panthers again. This might have worked against the Patriots when you had Jacoby Brissett over there. Frustrating one. Look, we got to have the conversation now because I've been backing him. And I've been saying I believe we'll find a way to figure it out. Could the Bengals use some more players? Sure. But on defense, the players aren't this bad. Whatever magic Lou Anarumo had on that defensive side of the ball, did DJ Reader mean this much? I mean, I know he meant a lot, but he didn't, he wasn't playing corner. I mean, the Ravens put up 41 2 weeks after Washington put up 36. It's just awful on defense right now. I will say they played with some pop at times in the first half, but when push came to shove, when this heavyweight fight got into rounds 10, 11, and 12, Bengals defense were just taking it on the chin. One jab after another, one hook after another. Just getting punched around. So, God. Charlie Kohler, you know who that is? No one else did before today. 3 catches, 64 yards, had the big touchdown. A 4th-round pick last year, Iowa State. Looks like he went to 8th grade graduation 2 weeks ago. Just a baffling performance on the season by the defense. Baltimore had 4 guys with 55 yards or more through the air, including Mark Andrews, who I think had like 9 total yards coming into this one. You just cannot depend on this secondary right now. Yeah, I mean, Mark Andrews, let's see here. He had 65 total yards coming into today. He had 55 against the Bengals, so pretty much doubled up. I don't know, man. And then you shut down Derrick Henry for the whole game, and then with the game on the line, he rips off one for 55 yards. Do you have any heart? Do you have any pride? Do you see the guy on the other side of the field putting up 38? I mean, the secondary is just a mess. Just a mess. Cam Taylor-Britt's feast or famine. DJ Turner, and these are dudes. You look at the dudes back there, you're talking about a 1st-round pick and 2 second-round picks. Safeties haven't been great. Geno Stone looks a little slower than you'd like for him to be. Von Bell, he got beat. I think it was that Collar touchdown. I can't keep track. It was such a long game, but bad. I don't need to go into detail here. It's bad. But I don't think the players are that bad, are they? I don't think the players are that bad. What is going on? That's the thing. I've got no answers. Usually, I think I know a lot of things. This one I can't figure out. The secondary stinks. That's all I really know. Is that all it is? And teams are just going to throw all over the Bengals all the time? I don't know. But whatever it is, Lou Anarumo, you got to fix it. Are the players great? No. Are they getting older? Yes. But they're not this bad. They're not this bad where you're giving up 41 today, where you're giving up 36 at home to a rookie. Bengals' last 2 home games, they've given up 77 points. What'd they give up to New England? 26? They give up 26 to New England. New England scored like 2 points today. New England, I had 2 TVs on for whatever reason. Red Zone kept going to that Patriots and Dolphins game. It was just missed field goal after missed field goal. Patriots are now 1-4. Oh, it was 16. It wasn't 26-10. It was 16-10. Either way, since then, they've scored 20, they've scored 3, they've scored 13, they've scored 10. That's New England. I mean, just whatever is going on, and they haven't won a single game. I don't know. Look, man, Lou Anarumo has been awesome. He's done things to Patrick Mahomes. He's figured things out. Look, if you're a defensive coordinator or if you're a team who needs a guy and you really trust in everything, that's the thing. If he does go, someone in the AFC is going to scoop him right up because he's got the kryptonite for Patrick Mahomes. But in Cincinnati this year, 77 points in their last 2 home games. I don't have the answer, but it's got to get fixed. I will say, Lamar Jackson has a thing. He is such an incredible playmaker that he makes guys miss mentally. That he makes people look stupid because they try to overthink it. And as soon as they try to overthink and say, hey, I got to do this because this is the most elusive player in the game, then he just does the normal thing and makes them look silly. He makes guys do things they would never do otherwise. He makes defenders take angles and try to tackle him in ways that no one else would. I mean, he stiff-armed Sam Hubbard off of him for that insane throw to Likely today. Which, by the way, people are calling that like one of the all-time great plays. Sure, but he also fumbled the ball to start. Can it really be an incredible play if you fumble on the play? He fumbled the football to start the play. Don't fumble, and it doesn't need to be an incredible play, right? But he's amazing. And that's why, I'm taking a lot of heat on the old Twitter machine because I got a little optimistic, said the Bengals can reel off a few here. People are saying, what are they going to stop on defense? Well, they just played probably the most electrifying player we've seen in the last 25 years. And they gave up 41, 38 in the regulation. So, I mean, it's not like they're playing Lamar and Jaden Daniels every week, sure. And I'm not making excuses, but yeah, Lamar just does things to teams that he does things. And you would think, and I said this last week, you would think by now some of these guys would have figured it out. You would think that they kind of would have a beat on him. And really, for a minute, it looked like maybe they did. I mean, had 21 points going into the fourth quarter. I think if you would have told anyone going into Sunday, hey, the Bengals through 3 quarters will only give up 21 points to Lamar Jackson and the Ravens offense, people would have said fine. I think if you would have told anyone they were going to hold them under 30 through 3 quarters, they would have said, all right, Bengals are going to have a shot. And they did. And then they give up 17 points in the fourth quarter. Can't close. Cannot close. 17 points in the fourth quarter when you've had the whole game. I mean, I guess he just wore him down. There's just no excuse anymore. The frustrating, as much as anything, the frustrating thing right now is that in 2024, the Cincinnati Bengals are 1-4, 1 win, 4 losses. And we've seen how good they can be. Just a handful of plays created losses to Kansas City and Baltimore, the 2 teams that played in the AFC Championship a year ago. Handful of plays. Pass interference call and a bad sequence of play calling. I mean, a pass interference call and a freaking bad snap on a field goal. Difference between 1-4 and 3-2 against the 2 teams that played in the AFC Championship a year ago. And if you were taking the field versus those 2 in the AFC as far as who's going to represent in the Super Bowl, I think a lot of people would take Chiefs or Ravens because the Bengals don't look good right now. The Bills lost to the Texans. They've lost 2 straight. Who else are you going to go with? Houston's the only other option, aren't they? And the Bengals are 2 plays away from 3-2 against 2 of the elite teams in the NFL, which they would be a part of if they were at that record. Joe Burrow's like leading the league in every major passing category, and he's 1-4 because the defense sucks. Burrow goes 30 for 39, 371 yards, 5 touchdowns, and a pick. Sacked 3 times for 21 yards, including a brutal one in the fourth quarter. Last possession they had in the regulation. But this is a team, I mean, again, we see flashes. I mean, first half, you see flashes of the team we knew they could be, the team we all expected them to be. But the defense is so atrocious. Popping my neck. Hopefully you couldn't hear that through the microphone. It didn't sound good in my own ears. But listen, that's where they're at. And that's the frustrating part is we see that they are a team capable of being in. I mean, they're right there in all of these, and they're 1-4. They can't close things out. And to go back to what I started with at the top of the show, you can't close the game. You play scared. You're not a championship team. Simple as that. All these games between the elite teams and the NFL, they're all close. They're all close. Go look at playoff scores once it gets into the second round. Last year there were some blowouts early, but all these things are close. Houston and Buffalo, close. Bengals Chiefs, close. All these games are close. It's the NFL. But when push comes to shove, championship caliber teams pull it off. Baltimore doesn't play scared. Baltimore gives it to a guy they trust in, despite the fact he's been getting... Baltimore did the opposite at the end of the game. Bengals had all these guys who were kicking ass all day. They didn't give them the ball. Baltimore had a guy who had sucked all day, but they said, hey, we still believe in you. One team believes in what they've put out there. The other one didn't. They are good enough. 2 plays away from being 3-2 with massive wins over Kansas City and Baltimore. 2 plays away. Jamar Chase, 10 catches, 193 yards, 2 touchdowns. T. Higgins, 9 catches, 83 yards, 2 touchdowns. Wasted efforts by your elite players. And they get nothing. They get nothing in overtime. Don't even give them a look. Don't even give them an opportunity to impact the game. Disgusting. Long climb from here, man. What are you going to do? I see people saying, season's over. Okay, then don't watch. There's a lot of cool things to do on a Sunday afternoon. There's a lot of great things to do. Jeremy Rao, Fox 19, says Joe Burrow would be in the MVP conversation if not for the 1-4 start. He is first in touchdown passes with 12, first in passer rating, second in completion percentage, third in passing yards, and tied for first in 40-plus yard touchdown passes. It's right there. Mo Egger, the great radio host in Cincinnati, Ohio, this is one that really stuck with me. He tweeted, when you treat September like it's August, losses in October are even more damaging. Let me read that again, as the Bengals have started 3 straight seasons now 0-2. Mo Egger, the great Mo Egger, one of my favorite, if not my favorite radio host in the country. When you treat September like it's August, like it's the preseason, like you're just getting warmed up, losses in October are even more damaging. I alluded to this a couple weeks ago. The Bengals have done this thing for 3 straight years now where they get off to a bad start and they say, relax, don't worry about it, it's a long season. No, shut the hell up. This is why you worry about it. This is why it's upsetting. Because you know these type of games, like the one we saw today, are going to happen. You're not in the AFC South where everyone else stinks. You're not in the AFC East where it looks like maybe everyone stinks there too. You're in the AFC North where the Steelers could put a dead man at quarterback and still go 7-10. The Ravens are always going to be in the mix. You got to play. The slow starts are killing them. You've got to get those wins against the Patriots and the Commanders in the bag. Because most of these games, you're too good to lose those games because when push comes to shove now, look where you're at. If you just win one of those games, you're at 2-3, which is so much better than 1-4. So much better than 1-4. I feel like I'm going to have a heart attack right now. That's so well put by Mo. When you treat September like it's August, like it's the preseason, losses in October will kill you dead. Bengals' last 3 losses have come by a combined 7 points. They can't finish the game. I was thinking, I did say at the top of the show, this is like the worst, as far as like internal feeling, this is as sick as I felt after a non-playoff game in a really long time, and as long as I can remember. You don't give Evan McPherson, you put the ball on Evan McPherson's leg at the end. And Evan McPherson's great, but from 54, can't get over it. I cannot get over it. Just going through, seeing what I miss. I mean, Jamar Chase's 70-yard touchdown, get out of town. I mean, there's such an incredible effort wasted here. This game counts the same as that Patriots game. Isn't that something? It counts more because it's a divisional game. But it goes in the loss column all the same. Sickening. So the Bengals from here, here's where I took a lot. I'm getting ratioed, and if you don't know what that means, it's because you're a cool person who has a life and doesn't sit on the internet like a dork. Ratioed on Twitter because I said, I know everyone is angry. I am too, but 5-4 is very realistic. All right, I got a little happy. After the game, I went, I needed like an hour to cool off, and then I went and hung out with some friends, had some ribs, had some ice cream, had a nice time, let the mind be free for a minute, and got a little happy and saw that the Bengals boys, the music makers over there, said, got to win each of these. And I mean, look, they got the Giants coming up this weekend. Next weekend, I should say. Then the Browns, who they might as well. God, if they lose to the Browns. It's been a whole negative episode. But look, it's true. Giants, Browns, Eagles in Cincinnati, and then the Raiders in Cincinnati. They can go 5-4. And people say, with this defense, well, the defense has been getting beat up, but they just played. I mean, they've played, their last 3 losses are Mahomes, Jaden Daniels, who's just shattering every record and putting up 95 points a game, and Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. So, yeah, the defense stinks, but it's not like they're out here, it's not like they're out here getting beat up by the Titans or Jacksonville or Miami. They're getting beat by the best offenses in the league. So as long as this offense now has scored, 33, 34, and then 38. So if you score 33 points a game, you're going to win a lot of games. Now figure out the defense in the meantime, because even if you pull it off and go, let's say 10-7, this defense still isn't doing anything in the playoffs. Although I say that, 2 playoff teams, Chiefs and the Ravens, they went to overtime and lost by 1, so who knows? But yeah, I mean, the Bengals were, again, everyone wants to say, well, they suck. They were a field goal away from winning today. They were a pass interference away from beating the Chiefs. I know you got to finish games. I've talked about it a lot here today. But they're right there. They just need to crank things from like an 8.7 to a 9.2, and they're there. So that's where we're at. Is there a bye week in there somewhere? No. Bye week must be after that. I don't know, man. So that's where it's at. I mean, just a frustrating day. And again, they are the team we thought. I don't know if they are the team we thought they could be. They're capable of winning. They're capable of beating anyone on any given Sunday. But they're not doing it. So I'm not trying to come. That's how I honestly feel. I'm not trying to be Mr. Homer. They can play with anyone. They can. Literally, their worst loss. As far as margins go, their biggest loss this year is to the Patriots. They're right there. I mean, just win 2 of those games. Infuriating. But not to focus on the other stuff, because today was just take all the other stuff and throw it out. Because again, there's a lot of stuff you could point to in the game today. And it's difficult for me to sit here and harp on the offense, but the offense is all you can believe in. And I'm not even harping on the offense. I'm harping on the play calling. Because at this point, you've got to put your faith in the offense, because the defense did what you expect them to do. I have no expectations for them. So I'm not going to sit here and... But at the end of the game, you've got those guys and you do that. That's what drives me insane. That's what will stick with me from today, is that they had it right there. They finally got the turnover, and they played scared. Infuriating. Well, I don't know if I feel better. I don't know that you feel better. You probably shouldn't have listened to this. You probably feel worse now. So yeah, after those next 4 that I mentioned, where I stupidly said the Bengals could probably go 5-4, have a chance at going 5-4, they then go to Baltimore again on a Thursday night game. So I don't know. Again, do what you want. People, if you're not going to be optimistic and have hope, then quit watching. What's the point in watching sports if you're not going to What are you going to sit there and be angry? You're going to come back and watch. You're mad today. I'm mad today. I'm going to watch next Sunday night. Stay up till 11:30 and feel miserable the next day because I'm old. Speaking of which, I mean, Dallas and Pittsburgh delayed until 9:45 right now, and it's 9:44 as I say this. What a miserable night. A 10 o'clock kick, East Coast time. Cancel the game. No one wants to stay up that late. That's absurd. All right, I'm going to wrap this thing up. If you like the podcast, you're a sick freak. What about this was possibly enjoyable? But if you do, give it a rating, give it a subscribe on YouTube. Do whatever you want. I don't care anymore. And my name is Matt Edwards. I appreciate everyone tuning in. We'll do it again. Let's see. We got a game on Sunday, so let's put one out. It'll come out either Thursday night or Friday morning. If you just subscribe, it'll pop up on your phone, or you can come looking for it when you want to. So appreciate everyone tuning in. My name is Matt Edwards. You have been listening to In the Jungle.